Hey guys, Dwindling Elves here. Today I've got a game with my Dark Elves against a Demon player. It's a 2250 game, and I'm using my MSU Dark Elf shooting list versus a Death Star centered Demons list. So as for magic, I have a level 4 Shadow, and I got Miasma, Withering, Pit of Shades, and Mind Razor. And then I also have the level 2 Warlocks, who have Soul Blight and Doombolt automatically. And my opponent had a ton of magic. He had a level 4 Nurgle Demon Prince, then 2 level 1s of Nurgle, so he had pretty much the entire Nurgle lore. Then he had a Herald, who was a level 2 of Tzeentch, and then he had a level 4 unit of Pink Horrors. I don't know what spells they all rolled, but they pretty much had the majority of both lores. And here's the deployment. So my opponent has on his top right, behind that building, a unit of 35 Plague Bearers with full command, and in there he's got 2 level 1 Heralds, one of which is his BSB. So that is a big Death Star. Normally he puts Epidemius in there as well, but I've got Bolt Throwers, so I told him, you're probably better off hiding Epidemius behind a building, because otherwise my Bolt Throwers are just going to shoot him out of the unit. So yeah, that is a unit I am very, very worried about, and I need to really whittle that down before it gets to me, because it will outgrind most or any of my units. Then he has a Nurgle Soul Grinder, and he's just got the Bolt Thrower upgrade, as well as the Cannon Grape Shot upgrade. Then he has a unit of 20 Horrors, and in there he's got a level 2 Herald as well. And then behind the Ruined Tower, he has Epidemius and a level 4 Demon Prince of Nurgle, who flies and, is a pretty kitted out. So as for myself, I've got, on the left, I've got 5 fast cav with shields and spears and crossbows. Then I have 14 crossbows with full command. Then they're right behind the tower. They're going to jump into the tower first turn. Then a bolt thrower. I have my 5 warlocks in front of my archers, or my second unit of crossbows, who are behind the wall, and there are 14 with banner musician. Then I have 9 Cold One Knights, and in there I've got my BSB. They have the Swiftness banner, and the BSB has a 1-up rerollable armor save and a halberd. I like having Strength 5 all the time. I think it's probably better than a Lance, because you don't want him to go to Strength 4 after the first turn. I think Strength 5 is just, I prefer it. Behind them, I've got my level 4 on Pegasus, and she's pretty naked with the exception of the Spell Scroll. Didn't have enough points to give her the magical cloak that gives you a 3-up ward save against magic and shooting. Then next to them, I've got 21 Blackguard with Banner Musician, and they've got the Standard of Discipline, so they're Stubborn 10, which I really like. And I've scouted 6 units of Shades, and they're going to go straight after those that giant block of Nurgle. And out of shot on the left, I've got a second unit of Fast Cav with repeater crossbows and shields and spears, and another bolt thrower on a hill. And so I won the roll to go first, and this is after my Vanguard, but before I move. So I move the Warlocks over to get them out of the way of the Archers, and I move my Fast Cav up on both flanks. And that's another picture of the Fast Cav moving up on that flank. Now, I didn't take a picture of my first turn movement, but the Archers, or the Crossbowmen, will move into the building. The second unit will move across the fence so they get in range, and the 3 units of Shades will start to hug and escort those Nurgle guys up the board, so they're going to stick to them like glue. Then in the magic phase, I roll 4 dice at the Withering, and it goes off with Irresistible Force, and then I get a 3 on the D3, so these guys are now Toughness 1, which is really, really ideal, and that makes my Strength 3 shooting essentially Strength 6 shooting, which is very, very nice considering I've got 3 units of Shades, 18 Shades with 36 shots at short range. That I'm very, very excited about. This is what my list was built around, so I'm finally get to try it out, because I haven't had much success with casting Withering and shooting in the previous games that I've played with these guys. The miscast takes a wound off my level 4, but obviously I will take that every day, because, yeah, Toughness 1 on Demons is very, very nice. And then, wow. So we go to shooting, and like I said, I have 36 shots from the Shades, and they're hitting on 4s and wounding on 2s. So And then I still have my two crossbow units from across the board, and then I have one of my bolt throwers who can see them, and then I have one unit of fast cav that can see them. So that is a ton of shots into these guys, and I end up killing 27 of them in one go. I thought that was really, really nice because now this Death Star, I can send my crossbows into it, and they might have a chance of beating these guys. I mean, not realistically, but it means my Blackguard will absolutely chew through these guys in one turn if they ever make it across the board. So that is perfect. That's a great first turn for me. So Demons turn 1. He moves his Nurgle guys into the building on the top right, and he moves his Tzeentch guys into the building on the top left. His Soul Grinder walks up a little bit, but he wants to shoot at me. And his Demon Prince stands right next to my fast cav, and I think he's gonna try to do the template spell on them. I think that's why he's so close to them. And Epidemius just stays very close behind the building, so nobody can shoot him. So in the magic phase, he tries to do the teardrop on my fast cav, but I dispel it, and then he gets rancid visitations off on these guys. So it's D6 strength 5 hits, and he only kills one, and I pass my toughness 3 test. I got very lucky. He got that spell off a couple of times during this game, and I've passed every single toughness test, so that was very, very nice. So Dark Elves turn 2. Most of my lines stay exactly as is. My fast cav pass their march test and walk away from the Demon Prince, and then I'm going to go take pot shots at Epidemius behind the building. And the big thing I do here is I reform my cold ones on the bottom right. So I'm thinking he might fly his Demon Prince into my bolt thrower, and if he does that, I can counter with the cold one knights no matter where he ends up, unless he really runs far off the board. So I like their positioning there, and I'm using my Blackguard to cover the center of the board. But I think I'm in a very good spot here. And then, yeah, so my magic phase is a bust. He stops everything, but he doesn't realize that Withering remains in play. So the Withering stays up. And, you know, my Shades didn't move this turn. And yes, he's in a building hard cover, and I'm multi-shooting, but Shades are so awesome that I'm still hitting on 5s. So at 36 shots that hit on 5s and wound on 2s still does a lot of damage. And between most of my shooting goes in this building, I'm able to wipe out everyone, so the rest of the unit and both heralds. So that was very nice. So I don't have to worry about this unit. I'm way ahead of points in this at this point, because I think that unit is worth like 800 points at least. And then, so I don't have a picture of his Demon's turn 2 movement, but all he does is he moves his Demon Prince behind the tower where my archers are sitting, and in the magic phase he gets off the +1 tough, or the plus D3 toughness spell, but he only rolls a 1, so now he's toughness 6. And he gets rancid visitations off on these guys, but only kills 2, and again I pass my toughness test, which is really, really nice with toughness 3 elves, so I got a little bit lucky there. And we're back to Dark Elf turn 3, so I move my Shades up on the top. They march up as quickly as possible, and they're going to start taking pot shots at the Soul Grinder. I mean, the Soul Grinder is toughness 7, so even there's no point in me trying to wither it or whatever, because I'll still most likely be wounding it on 6s. So yeah, I move my crossbows behind the wall. That way, if his Demon Prince charges into me, he's -1 to hit, and I reform my cold ones so that if he does charge into those crossbows and I'm steadfast and I stick, I can countercharge with the cold ones. So that's that. In the shooting phase, I get 2 wounds off on this Demon Prince, despite the fact that he's toughness 6, because it really, toughness 5 versus toughness 6 doesn't matter for all of my crossbows, so it's just pure volume of shots, and I'm able to sneak a couple of wounds through. So he's down to half wounds, which is nice. And I do the same with the Soul Grinder. Yeah, I don't care that he's toughness 7. I'm always wounding on 6s, which is nice. So I take 2 wounds off of him. And then Demon's turn 3. He charges his Demon Prince into my archers behind this wall. I feel reasonably good about this because he has to kill 7 guys in order to take me out from Steadfast. And, you know, I'm leadership A reroll with my BSB right there. So that's nice. And the wall means that he's -1 to hit, so instead of hitting me on 3s, he's hitting me on 4s, which is also nice. And he moves his Soul Grinder up here. I think he's going to try to come after my points here, but I'm not too worried about this because it's I have an MSU list, so I can sacrifice one of the units to get in the way and the other ones will save themselves. Or I'm skirmishers, which means that I'm very hard to catch, and if I'm not skirmishers, I'm a flying Pegasus, which means you're never going to catch me. And the other guys are fast cav, also very difficult to chase down, so yeah, I'm not worried about the Soul Grinder on this side. And then in the combat phase, I get pretty lucky. He kills one guy with his regular attacks. He rolled really poorly, and the wall may have saved a couple of hits there. And he only kills 2 with the Thunder Stomp, so I'm steadfast, but that's very fortunate for me. Oh, and I actually did 1 wound on the stand and shoot, so his Demon Prince is down to 1 wound total. And then Dark Elves turn 4, so I charge the Cold One Knights into the flank of that Demon Prince, and so that gives me 3 combat res right there. I fly my Pegasus over to support that combat with magic, and I march my 2 units of Shades right past the Soul Grinder. I do the same with the Fast Cav on both flanks, and I give him 1 unit of Shades that he can try to chase down. And the only reason why I did that is because I couldn't get him around anyway, so I had to put him somewhere. Then in the magic phase, I get Withering off on him again, and it's again 4 dice. I get Irresistible Force, but this time I reduce his toughness by 1, which means now he's toughness 4, which does make a big difference considering all the attacks that I'm going to get in on him. Yeah. And in the miscast, I rolled a 7, which means I don't take any damage because I'm on a Pegasus. And yep, my BSB strikes at him, and he gets 1 wound through. And this is actually a turn where he had a 4+ ward save, so I felt I was pretty fortunate there. So I killed him, which is nice. And then I reformed after to look at the Soul Grinder. But I'm not too keen on charging through that marsh to get to the Soul Grinder. I think I'd die on 1s and 2s because it's a marsh. So I think I'd probably end up using my Blackguard to take that thing out. So Demon's turn 4. He charges the Soul Grinder at the Shades, and I flee with the Shades because they've got, a whole 2 feet to rally. So I'm likely going to rally those guys. And then he rolls for his magic phase, and he rolls double 1s. And I didn't actually realize what was going on until he started rolling leadership tests, and he started removing models. So his Soul Grinder was down to, I think, 2 wounds. I'd shot it a couple of times, and I've been taking wounds off of it gradually. He rolled his leadership test, and he rolled above, his leadership 7 or 8 or whatever it was, and he died, which surprised me. And then he rolled double 6s on his Pink Horror unit, and they're vaporized as well. So I'm like, what? I think my opponent was pretty unlucky during the rest of the game, and this really sealed it. Like, he just ended up defeating himself. It was really tough. But Epidemius is still alive, but he's also taken 2 wounds through shooting. Or maybe even 3 wounds. I think he's down to 1 wound left. And then in Dark Elf turn 5, we say, hey, let's go for it. And I charge my Fast Cav into Epidemius, and I get Soul Blight off on him. So it's now toughness 4 instead of toughness 5. So it makes it far more manageable, and I do the last wound on him with my Fast Cav, and yeah, that's the game. So obviously it was a crushing victory for the Dark Elves. This is actually, the 3 games I've played before, my wins were based on my combat blocks. I mean, obviously my list is MSU centered around shooting, and really the Shades is what I really need, what I hope wins me the games. And that hasn't happened for me in the last 3 games, but it actually did happen for me this game. So Shades with Withering really won me the game. Him being toughness 1 and my Shades being right next to him for 2 turns of shooting, even in a building, man, these guys absolutely rocked it. It was really, really rough. It was brutal. So it was nice to actually see that happen. My other games, I've tried this, but it hasn't worked out as well for me. So yeah, they listed exactly what they're supposed to. Like I didn't even use the black card, which I think won me or have won me a couple games, and I think the cold one knights have also won me a couple of games as well, which made me start thinking that hey, maybe I shouldn't be playing a shooting list and I should be playing a combat list because that's winning me most of my games. But you know, this one it was nice to get one like this, the way the list is supposed to work. So it kind of validates the list, and I'm gonna keep trying to play it and see what happens. Um, my opponent was exceptionally unlucky. He was a really good sport about it. Like, he's a very, very nice guy, and he was okay with it. And he's like, oh, you know, it's demons. It happens. You roll double ones on your magic phase, and you die. If you roll double sixes on your magic phase, you get a new unit. But he was very, very unlucky. Um, but I thought it was a good. Yeah, I liked the game. I enjoyed it. Hope you guys did too. Bye.